There is a sound that has disappeared from American life. You haven't heard it in decades. It was the sound of a cash register drawer slamming shut in 1955. It was the sound of a handful of change hitting a wooden counter. It wasn't a dull thud. It was a high-pitched, resonant ring. It was the song of silver. In 1955, if you dropped a quarter on the table to pay for your coffee, you weren't handing over a token. You were handing over a piece of the earth. That coin in your pocket was made of 90% pure silver. It didn't represent value. It was value. It had weight. It had history. And most importantly, it had purchasing power that no politician could print away. But reach into your pocket right now. Pull out a quarter. Drop it on the table. Listen to that. A dull, dead thud. That is the sound of copper and nickel sandwiched together. That is the sound of a currency that has been hollowed out from the inside. Most people think inflation is just prices going up. We are told it's complicated. But some critics of fiat currency argue the truth traces back to a single, specific moment in time. A moment when the government reached into the pockets of every American citizen and quietly swapped their treasure for trash. It happened in 1965. They called it the Coinage Act. It sounds boring, doesn't it? Just a bureaucratic adjustment. But for savers, it was a turning point. In a single stroke, the United States government declared that silver, the metal that had defined the dollar since the founding of the Republic, was no longer necessary for our dimes and quarters. The administration argued that these new Clad coins would work just as well in daily commerce. They argued that removing the silver wouldn't change the value of the money in your pocket. History suggests otherwise. Now, let's look at the math. In 1964, a gallon of gasoline cost roughly 30 cents. That meant if you had a silver quarter and a nickel, you could buy a gallon of fuel. Now, fast forward to today. If you take that same 1964 silver quarter to a coin dealer, the melt value fluctuates, but it is often around $5. Now, take those $5 to the gas station. What can you buy? Roughly a gallon of gas. Do you see the secret? The real cost of gas in silver terms has remained remarkably stable. It suggests that the gas didn't necessarily get expensive. The dollar lost its strength. Over long stretches, silver sometimes appears to hold purchasing power better than cash, though results vary by decade, premiums, and timing. But most of us didn't know we had a choice. We trusted the coins, we trusted the paper, and while we were sleeping, the wealth was siphoned off. But today, the timeline of the fake money experiment is running out. We are entering a new phase, a phase experts call the squeeze. To understand what is coming, you have to understand the playbook. Economic history follows a cycle. Stage 1 is establishment. This was America before 1965. Money is physical. You work a day, you get a silver coin. The government is disciplined because they cannot print metal. Stage 2 is manipulation. This is what began in 1965. The government realized digging silver is hard, but printing paper is easy, so they severed the link. They created a futures market where Wall Street could trade billions of ounces of paper silver contracts. Imagine selling the same house to 100 different families. As long as they don't all try to move in on the same day, the system holds. For 50 years, we have lived in Stage 2. But now we have slammed into Stage 3, the squeeze. This is where the math stops working. In 1955, silver was just money. Today, it is a strategic asset. Silver is the most conductive of all metals.
It is widely used in advanced electronics, defense systems, and telecommunications due to its reliability. And crucially, it is a key component in the green energy future. Solar panels often use silver paste to conduct energy. Electric vehicles can require significantly more silver than traditional cars. Every iPhone, every medical device, every microchip, they rely on this metal. So here's the terrifying math of stage 3. The world is consuming silver at a staggering rate. For 4 straight years, analysts have reported a structural deficit, meaning we are using more than we are mining. And where does the supply come from to fill the gap? The vaults. Look at the data from the COMEX, the main vault in New York. Publicly reported inventories, especially in the registered category, can fluctuate sharply. Some analysts interpret recent drawdowns as a sign that the deliverable supply is tightening. The ocean is draining.
Now you might be thinking, if silver is running out, I should just buy a silver stock or an ETF and get rich. Wrong. That is the most dangerous trap in the game. To understand why, we have to look at the year 1980, the only time the public actually cornered the market. 2 brothers from Texas, the Hunt brothers, decided they had had enough of fake money. They bought millions of ounces. The price shot from $6 to nearly $50. So did the free market play out? Did the banks pay up? No. They changed the rules. Overnight, the exchanges implemented emergency measures, including Silver Rule 7. They implemented restrictions that made it incredibly difficult to open new buy positions, effectively forcing the market into liquidation. The price crashed, the Hunt brothers went bankrupt, the banks survived. This is the lesson. You cannot beat the house if you are playing with their chips. The Hunt brothers lost because they bought paper contracts on leverage. They played inside the casino, and the casino owner can always kick you out. Fast forward to today. The warning signs are flashing again. We are hearing reports from Asia of tightening supply. Some commentators argue that central banks and nations are hoarding metal for the state, making it harder for the average person to acquire. And the ETFs? Read the fine print. Most investors in these funds don't have a direct claim on specific bars. Redemptions are typically handled through authorized participants. If the system stresses, you aren't an owner, you are a creditor. Think about what that means. Let's say the dollar collapses, silver goes to $500. If you hold a paper contract, you rely on the counterparty to deliver. If they can't, or if the rules change again, you could be left with nothing but paper. This is stage 4, the break. It happens when the market realizes the paper promises outnumber the physical metal. When that happens, the price doesn't just go up, it breaks the board. The paper contracts burn to ash, and the only thing that matters is what you hold in your hand. So, what is the solution to the great robbery of 1965? It is simple. You have to step back in time. You have to realize that the dollar is the Titanic, and it is taking on water. You are looking for a lifeboat. The rule is simple. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. That means avoiding assets where you don't control the physical product. The only asset that counts is the metal you can lock in your own safe. First, look for constitutional silver. These are the dimes, quarters, and half dollars minted before 1965. They are ugly. They are worn. They look like pocket change, but they are 90% pure silver. In a crisis, a 1964 quarter is the ultimate survival currency. It is fractional, widely recognized, and difficult to counterfeit. Second, look for government-minted bullion, American silvers, Canadian maples. When the system breaks, liquidity is king. You want something you can hand to a grocer or a mechanic, and they know exactly what it is. This isn't about betting the farm, it is about insurance. Some experts suggest a modest allocation, perhaps 10% of your portfolio, converted into physical reality.
Because the truth the government has tried to hide since 1965 is this: you cannot print silver. You cannot algorithm your way out of a geological deficit. Physics doesn't care about the Federal Reserve. One day soon, you might walk into a coin shop and see a sign that says "Sold Out." And on that day, the price won't matter anymore because you won't be able to get it at any price. So, do me a favor. Tonight, find an old jar of coins. Ask your grandparents if they have any change lying around. Listen for that sound. That high-pitched ring, that is the sound of freedom. It is the sound of the only financial asset that has survived every empire for 5,000 years. They tried to steal it from us in 1965. Don't let them take the rest of it. If you want to know exactly how the banks are planning to introduce the digital dollar to replace the paper one, make sure you are subscribed. The pattern is just beginning. Keep your powder dry and your silver close. Disclaimer: this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Always do your own research and consult a professional before making financial decisions.